Tonight on The Proof Is Out There. A mysterious object moving through the sky. Is it a UFO disguised as a cloud?
It's a cloud with lights in it, moving weird.
Is Lake Superior home to a massive water creature?
This could be the first sonar evidence that we have of the mysterious lake monster known as Preston.
What are these strange lights seen over Florida?
They look like they're directed. These aren't random. There's something moving them.
And why were these terrifying Bigfoot photos sent to the police?
If these photos were authentic, they depict something with no other precedent to compare them with.
Around the globe are videos,
What are those things?
It's moving.
photos, and sounds that defy explanation.
We don't know where they come from, who made them, or how they operate.
What are they?
Some sort of bizarre mutation.
What's exciting is nobody really knows.
Extraordinary claims need extraordinary proof.
I'm Tony Harris, and as a journalist for more than 30 years, I've followed the facts where they take me. Now I'm bringing that spirit of investigation to the world's strangest sounds and images. We'll analyze each one with top experts.
It's a credible case, it's a credible video.
And pass a verdict on what it is.
This video was clearly faked.
The Proof starts now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Proof Is Out There. In the book of Exodus, God used a cloud to guide Moses and his people through the desert. But these days, people are talking about a different type of cloud control. Are aliens using clouds for cover? July 2015. Hector Garcia is hanging out in his neighborhood in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He is enjoying the summer weather when he suddenly notices something bizarre floating in the sky above him.
It's a cloud with lights in it, moving weird.
The aerial object can best be described as a shape-shifting, semi-transparent cloud-like mass. It hovers and follows a set of power lines until it drifts out of sight behind homes. The cloud's seemingly guided behavior has led to Hector's video going viral, racking up over 1 million clicks on YouTube.
Some people looking at this see that inside this amorphous blob, there seem to be glowing or shimmering lights. And it looks like this object is intelligently going to a destination.
Now, at first, I figured this could just be some floating debris. After all, Aero, the Pentagon's UAP identification team, said that's just exactly what many sightings turn out to be. But look at those twinkling lights. Tidal says the object's behavior reminds her of an alleged ET phenomenon known as cloud cloaking.
This is the theory that a UFO will hide itself either within a cloud or mask itself to look like a cloud so that it can hover inobtrusively.
Some say that aliens use cloud cloaking for one primary reason.
The idea is that the UFOs aren't just using clouds as cover. They're cloaking themselves so they can observe us and gather data on us without our realizing it.
Believers point to examples like this video posted in 2016 of a cloud-shaped UFO that suddenly disappears. And Tidal adds that another decades-old photo could show this may not be the first time aliens have utilized this technique.
On November 17, 1974, H. Laursen of Viborg, Denmark, saw something strange in the sky.
Laursen took out his camera and captured this strangely shaped cloud that appears in the shape of a classic UFO, with almost tentacle-like appendages underneath it.
This caused some to wonder, is this actually a naturally occurring object or something alien cloaking itself to look natural? Ultimately, his sighting was investigated by the Danish Air Force, but no one could ever determine what exactly it was that he saw. Is this sighting in Philadelphia also something that we've just never seen in the sky before? Could this be definitive evidence of UFO cloud cloaking?
I've never seen no like that.
NASA's Earth Observatory estimates that nearly 2/3 of Earth's surface is covered by clouds at any given time. That's a whole lot of space for UFOs to be hiding in. But which one do we see in this video? UFO? Cloud? Both? Neither? Our experts are ready to clear things up. To begin, could this incident have simply been faked? Physicist Matthew Shadagas thinks the answer is not in what we see, but what we hear.
The eyewitness seemed pretty surprised and natural to me.
It's a cloud with lights in it.
So from their behavior, it's probably not a hoax, and it's probably someone who is genuinely surprised by what they are seeing.
So if what we're seeing is real, is it something that's supposed to be floating in the sky? Could it just be a cloud?
Initially, I thought this was a cloud off in the distance. But when clouds experience a lot of wind, they will disperse, oftentimes lose its shape. This is not what we saw here. It looks exactly the same at the end of the video as it does in the very beginning of the video.
If it's not a natural phenomenon like a cloud, could it be something found closer to Earth?
There's a dead giveaway moment right here where the object looks pretty close to a shopping bag. And I think I can make out what look like handles. And then to me, that looks like a wind gust picking up and blowing a plastic bag.
And if it is, in fact, a plastic bag, Shadagas believes he can easily explain why it sparkles.
If it's something like a plastic bag, this could simply be light from the sun refracting in weird ways.
But watch as the object moves past the TV antenna and behind the houses. If it is a floating shopping bag, it would have to be an extraordinary and unusually large one. For Hernandez, the plastic bag explanation also doesn't make sense, especially given the weather conditions that day.
It's off in the distance, and within 10 seconds, it's right on us. So it might be moving at over 50 miles an hour, but the winds this specific day were fairly light. They were 5 to 10 miles an hour. It's a clear day, high pressure over the region. It just doesn't make sense with what we're looking at here.
But that doesn't mean Hernandez thinks this is alien cloud cloaking technology.
If there was an alien species that was trying to develop an object to blend in, they would obviously have to know that clouds don't look like this normally. If it's a UFO that is practicing cloaking, it's not doing a good job.
So if it's not a UFO, what is it?
Whatever this is, it's changing direction. It takes a nosedive, but before it reaches the ground, it goes horizontally. And this behavior leads me to believe that there is some control that something or someone has over this object. And I don't have an explanation to that. It remains unidentified.
Our verdict? This is a genuine UFO, though not necessarily the extraterrestrial kind. This object doesn't move like a cloud, and we're not exactly sure what it's made of or how it's staying aloft. This feels like one of those cases where you will need to step up and help us out. So if you know anything about this incident, please reach out. Now, let's move on to another favorite topic of ours, lake monsters. Forget Loch Ness. Legend has it that something monstrous is stirring at the bottom of Lake Superior. And forget legends. Thanks to modern technology, we may finally have actual evidence about what's going on down there. June 2022, Lake Superior, in between Michigan and Wisconsin. Fisherman Andrew Bysick is out on his boat with a group of friends using sonar to scan for the lake's catch of the day. Suddenly, Andrew spots something strange.
We were having a good time, and then this came across the screen, and I said, "Hey, everybody, come look at this."
A screen grab of Andrew's sonar shows a mysterious shape swimming at the bottom of the lake. You can see what appears to be a long neck and a small head connected to a cylindrical body with a long tail and a potential fin.
It looks like it's 60 or 80 feet long. First thing that jumped out at me is this kind of looks like the Loch Ness Monster.
Field researcher Ken Gerhardt is not one bit surprised that this image was found in Lake Superior.
In Lake Superior, there is a creature known as Pressy, named after the nearby Presque Island River. The physical descriptions are always very similar. A giant snake-like animal, about 75 feet in length, with a horse-like head, 2 distinct pectoral fins, snake-like tail, and perhaps most intimidating, a mouth rimmed with razor-sharp teeth.
Legends of Pressy stretch back to the late 1800s, but it wasn't until 1977 that someone was thought to have captured actual photographic evidence of the creature.
A gentleman was staying at the Presque Isle campground when he managed to catch a photograph of which he believed was Pressy. He said it had the girth of a Volkswagen Bug.
Perhaps the most striking evidence of Pressy's existence is 400 years old.
There are some intriguing pictographs that are painted at Lake Superior Provincial Park of this giant, strange, snake-like animals hovering under a canoe filled with 5 people. And according to the local Ojibwe tribe, there are actually legends of the strange serpentine animal that is said to snatch people off of boats and devour them.
Sonar evidence may be the key to discovering the truth behind legends of the world's lake creatures. Back in 2016, a sonar-equipped submersible drone captured images deep inside Loch Ness of what appeared to be the lake's infamous monster. Unfortunately, it ended up being a 30-foot model of Nessie made for a movie that sank in the 1970s. But could this image be proof that Lake Superior's Pressy does in fact exist? Our experts dive in. Many online doubters claim that this footage is showing nothing more than a large sturgeon fish. But biologist Floyd Hayes says that's highly improbable.
Sturgeons can grow really large. However, the largest sturgeons in the Great Lakes are only about 8 feet long. This thing here, it would be too long to be a sturgeon.
So could this be some prehistoric creature like Pressy? Marine biologist Shay Steingast says the gigantic aquatic dinosaur known as the plesiosaur could have lived in this specific area once upon a time.
Plesiosaurs are known to have existed in North America. At first glance, this looks like it could be maybe a plesiosaur. I can see how you might interpret this as something like a head and a long neck with a body.
However, Steingast believes the truth behind this creature lies in the proper interpretation of how sonar captures images.
We can see that the supposed plesiosaur has different colors throughout the image, and those colors indicate density. If we were looking at a singular animal, all of that coloration would be red. Instead, what we're probably seeing are 2 dense areas of organisms, along with a weaker area of organisms that is that blue coloration.
So then, what exactly is it that Andrew found on his sonar?
What I think we're seeing here is maybe 2 separate schools of fish within a bed of lakeweed and a school of fish nearby with some other fish trailing off. And that would make a lot of sense biologically because fish tend to hang out in protected, vegetated areas within the Great Lakes. I think this might be a case where there is an apparent image that we're looking at that's really easy to misinterpret.
Our verdict? For better or worse, this image is showing us several schools of fish, not a plesiosaur like the infamous Pressy. And while that may be the case this time, the legend of Pressy certainly rages on as reported sightings continue. So keep your eyes and your sonar trained on those deep lake beds. When it comes to UFOs, observers typically see traits such as defying gravity without any visible means of propulsion, or abilities like instantaneous acceleration that physics can't explain. Now, we may have found something else to add to the list. Take a look. November 2022, Homestead, Florida. Dylan Thompson is taking a leisurely stroll through a parking lot when he sees something odd materializing in the night sky. He records this. A glittering trail of flaming light streams ominously from the heavens. Suddenly, it splits into 7 light trails that eventually morph into 9 orbs. Then, as you can see here, each orb suddenly halts its descent, seeming to float with purpose before fading out, one by one, into the night sky.
These lights do not look natural. This is some kind of technology, or there's something driving these lights.
The phenomenon seems to be eerily similar to another sighting we featured in an earlier proof episode of lights that appeared near Warminster, England. And the way these lights split up on descent reminds Tidal of an intriguing theory.
In 1949, engineer, physicist, and computer scientist John von Neumann introduced the world to his idea of universal assemblers. This is a type of UFO that is basically a self-replicating robot, and these robots can create more of themselves as they explore the universe.
Von Neumann's theory is that these probes explore the universe, mining essential raw materials from asteroids, moons, and planets. It's that mining which allows them to self-replicate, creating the ability for long-distance space travel.
These are sometimes called von Neumann probes, and they're said to replicate the way viruses or living organisms behave.
But Title notes that some believe there could be a more earthly, albeit ominous, explanation.
It's possible some would see this as evidence of some kind of preparation for space war.
A space war? Title says our military believes space could be the next battleground.
The media has widely reported that the Pentagon is preparing for a future space war, with nations like Russia and China launching increasing satellites that have weapons that can destroy communication satellites. The White House is proposing a $30 billion budget for the U.S. Space Force, which is $4 billion more than last year.
With deep pockets, is it possible that the U.S. Space Force is testing new offensive or defensive weapons designed to protect rockets at launch? Or could these lights be evidence of a von Neumann probe? Our experts have big thoughts on this one. Physicist Matthew Shadagis explores the von Neumann probe theory.
A bright streak seems to split into several streaks, all falling downwards. That behavior does seem to point towards some of the alleged cases of self-replicating UFOs.
But it's that slow downward trend that has Shadagis convinced we're likely looking at something more earthly than alien.
I don't see any sort of zigzaggy pattern that's associated with classic UFO cases. I do see a downward fall that is probably due to gravity, and that makes me think that there's probably a natural explanation.
Could the strange lights have anything to do with the big budget increases over at Space Force? Maybe Space Force was testing a new type of defensive weapon used to protect rockets from missile attack. Decoy pyrotechnic countermeasures have protected jet fighters for decades. Aviation expert Tim McMillan weighs in.
Countermeasures are employed as a means of thwarting missile targeting systems or systems that are targeting aircraft using infrared or thermal signatures. And the object behind that is to steer a missile away from the aircraft and into the flares. But it's not consistent with thermal countermeasures. The real big clue for me in this video is if you watch it, you'll notice that there appears to be aviation navigation lights of an aircraft.
McMillan says those lights and the location could be the keys to solving the mystery.
The Air Force Reserve Base in Homestead, Florida, happens to be the winter training facility for the U.S. Army's parachute team, the Golden Knights. They do exactly what I think we see here, which are pyrotechnic night jumps.
The Golden Knights consist of more than 100 elite skydivers who appear around the country to promote the U.S. Army. Watch closely as the single flare becomes multiple ones. That's each skydiver peeling off after jumping as a group.
And if you look at other pyrotechnic skydivers, this video is very similar to that.
The verdict? We're going with pyrotechnic skydivers. While we weren't able to confirm with the Golden Knights if they were jumping on this particular night, we agree that McMillan's observations do seem to point to a fiery skydive display. These next photos have had the Bigfoot community intrigued for over 2 decades. And the content of the photos is strangely not the only thing that's got us scratching our heads. December 2000, Sarasota County, Florida. The Sarasota Sheriff's Department is going through their mail when they receive something bizarre from an anonymous source. A typed letter reads, "Enclosed, please find some pictures I took in late September or early October of 2000. My husband says he thinks it's an orangutan." The attached photos are terrifying, depicting an ape-like creature crouched behind foliage. its eyes glowing red. The author estimates the creature to be 6.5 to 7 feet tall while kneeling. As the letter continues, please find out where this animal came from. It shouldn't be loose like this. Someone will get hurt. The author's identity remains a mystery. Still, field researcher Cliff Barrickman believes we could be looking at some bona fide Bigfoot evidence.
I've seen a lot of purported Sasquatch photographs in my time, and this is one of the better ones because you can see a fair amount of detail, and it is just kind of creepy. All over the country, whenever Sasquatches are observed, people would call them a variety of local names. And in Florida, they started calling these animals skunk apes.
Rumored to have an aggressive stench like rotting meat or raw sewage, the infamous skunk ape has been the subject of numerous alleged encounters, like this 2015 footage shot in Tampa and this video filmed in the Everglades in 2000. We concluded both those videos were hoaxes. Still, accounts of Floridians running afoul of this creature go all the way back to the 1800s.
The earliest report that I could uncover comes from 1816, when a man reported seeing a man-sized monkey run off into the woods in Apalachicola, Florida. People have reported being stalked by them. I know of one witness that was up in his tree stand and he heard something coming at him, and when he looked down, there was one of these things crawling up the tree after him with red glowing eyes.
In fact, it's the red glowing eyes in these photos that lead many to believe they are proof of an authentic Sasquatch. Remember, many researchers believe this creature is distantly related to humans.
Many reports of Sasquatches at night are accompanied by red eye shine. And humans have a red reflectivity to their eye as well in photographs. The flash reflects off the retina, and that red shine is actually the blood vessels on the back of one's eye.
Outside of primates, most animals don't have that red shine because of reflective tissue behind their retinas called the tapetum lucidum. This tissue enables low light visibility for animals, and it's also the reason your cat's eyes might have a green or blue tint in photos at night.
People hold up these photographs as evidence of the red eye shine, and maybe they're right.
Investigators were able to verify that these photos were indeed developed in Sarasota County right around the time of the alleged incident. So we know at least the location and the time frame check out, but what about this creature? Let's check in with our experts. The author of this strange letter suggests this creature is an orangutan, but anthropologist Kathy Strain says this is no such creature.
You can tell this isn't an orangutan because of the grayness in the hair. Orangs don't gray like that. Plus, orangs are well known to be hairless on their face.
So could this be the infamous skunk ape? What about that red eye shine, commonly found in humans and primates?
For me, when I have my photo taken, only my pupils are red. It's not the entire eye. And in that photo, the entire eye is red. That tells me something else is going on.
Anatomist and Bigfoot expert Jeff Meldrum agrees that what we're seeing here isn't natural eye shine.
I can imagine an artificial eye with a smooth surface reflecting the flash from a camera. That might explain the appearance of the eye somehow self-illuminating.
Like an artificial eye, you might see in a mask with plastic eye lenses. And according to Meldrum, the legitimacy of these photos has been foiled by the foliage.
The biggest soft palmetto leaves are 3 feet across. So the most glaring inconsistency was the assertion that the figures that she encountered were 6.5 to 7 feet in height. Even if this was the largest saw palmetto leaf, it would make that figure only about 4 feet tall. So the credibility of the remainder of the letter is drawn into question.
Our verdict? We think that this is probably a hoax due to the strange letter and the odd aspects of the creature itself. That being said, no one has been able to find the costume or prop in these photos, and whoever orchestrated this whole thing has never come forward to claim credit. So there's still a possibility, however small, that this skunk ape is still out there somewhere. In the 1940s and 50s, the term flying saucer was practically synonymous with UFO. The acronym was coined around the same time. You're about to see one of the most famous photos ever taken of a flying saucer. And decades later, it is still raising some big questions. November 1951, Riverside, California. Guy Marquand Jr. and a couple of friends are taking in the scenic hillside when something in the sky breaks the stillness.
Marquand reported seeing this object flying extremely fast overhead. He ran to grab his camera, then took this snapshot.
The black and white photo could hardly make it any clearer. In the sky above a sloping hill soars a crisp-edged disc with a domed top and a high-contrast metallic sheen.
Of all the famous early UFO photographs, this has that classic flying saucer look. But really, flying saucer mania started 4 years earlier with pilot Kenneth Arnold in 1947.
In June of 1947, Arnold was flying near Mount Rainier in Washington when he witnessed something that would make UFO history.
He saw a bright flash to the northeast and looked over to see that it was 9 shining objects. He described these objects as kind of like pie plates or saucers. The media then took that description and coined the term flying saucer.
And with that, this new UFO craze took off.
In the months after Arnold's original sighting, more eyewitnesses saw something similar to what he described. Within months, 90% of the country knew and was familiar with the term flying saucer.
Among the many flying saucers and depictions that followed Arnold's came the Riverside UFO. The big difference? Unlike Arnold, Guy Marquand Jr. had actual photographic evidence. Flying saucers have kind of gone out of fashion. In 2023, the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office dubbed orbs the most common UFO shape among recent reports. In contrast, discs, or flying saucers, comprised only 2%. So were flying saucers ever real? And if so, why are we seeing different UFOs now? And the big question, is the photo legit? We turn first to astronomer Mark D'Antonio to ask, could a flying saucer even fly?
Here I am moving UFO from one side to the other. It went from here to here. But what if I can make it disappear from here and just appear right here? Maybe they're disc-shaped because they're particle accelerators that allow them to pop out of our 4 dimensions and then pop back in.
Particle accelerators produce beams of electrically charged atomic or subatomic particles. They're often circular, so the beams can travel in a continuous loop. And astrophotographer Andrew McCarthy says there's another reason the saucer might make a good spaceship.
The flying saucer shape could allow the craft to function as a centrifuge. So you could simulate whatever gravity your home planet had by spinning it faster or slower as it's traveling.
This is because a centrifuge creates a sustained rotational force that causes your body's inertia to press you against the sides, effectively simulating gravity. If you've ever ridden the Gravitron at an amusement park, then you've experienced this firsthand.
So the flying saucer may actually be an ideal interstellar vehicle.
But then why has the ideal interstellar vehicle apparently fallen out of favor?
It's possible that there are other types of interstellar craft that have reached us from various civilizations. We're seeing flying saucers less often, but it doesn't mean that there aren't these types of UFOs out there.
So is this flying saucer a genuine UFO or the result of some kind of trick photography?
When I analyze this photo, it actually appears to be reflecting it exactly as one would expect something metallic with that shape to be behaving in the sky like that. So whatever this is, it was captured authentically in camera.
Yet while McCarthy believes it's a real object, he's not so sure it can't be identified.
If you take a look at car styles at the time, you'll notice that they all had a common feature called the hubcap.
Metal hubcaps are less common now, but back when this photo was taken, these shiny wheel protectors were everywhere. They often had a raised part in the center, similar to the domed top we see on this alleged UFO.
The shape very strongly resembles this flying saucer. So I think that's a much more plausible explanation than saying we got visitors from outer space.
And D'Antonio sees that too.
When we look at this, it's on an angle compared to the camera. Usually, things that are traveling in an arc through the sky are things that are, say, tossed It's like a hubcap being thrown like a frisbee off of this rock right here, and someone took a picture of it.
Our verdict, thrown metal hubcap. The light, the angle, and the car design of that era just make it the most likely explanation. We can't say for sure, but we think these fun-loving folks from the 50s might have been pulling a fast one in the heyday of the flying saucer craze. The 2007 horror film Paranormal Activity is about a young couple who set up cameras to document a supernatural presence haunting their home. But what if something similar actually happened in real life? Well, get ready for the jump scare. It's March 2022, just southwest of Minneapolis in Shakopee, Minnesota. At about 10 o'clock at night, Joey Radke is watching TV in the master bedroom of the home he's renting. But out in the hallway, something spooky is about to go down. A CCTV camera is rolling as two cats run into the home's darkened living room and freeze. One of the cats pounces and the other darts behind a laundry basket and stares at the spot where it just came from. The family's third cat is nowhere to be seen. Then, 15 seconds later, a door closes and a shadowy figure appears to walk out of a room into the hall. Take a closer look. We used Luma and color effects to up the contrast and enhance the image. The shape looks like a woman in a dress, with her hair puffed up on top of her head. The form is gone as quickly as it came, but now orbs are seen flying through the room. Joey finds the footage after his wife, who is out of town at the time, gets an alert on her phone.
My oldest stepson was kind of freeze framing it frame by frame. And when he captured it, we all jumped and said, you know, that's a woman standing in our hallway wearing a nightgown with that kind of bouffant, kind of beehive-ish hair.
Joey says he had long heard rumors that the home he rented may be haunted.
The friends of ours who own the home say that there was a previous homeowner before they lived there that ended up passing away in the master bedroom, and the neighbors said that it looked like the gal that did live there that did pass away.
Joey shares that before this incident was caught on camera, his wife had woken up several times late at night with the feeling that there was an eerie presence at the foot of the bed. And some believe the strange behavior of Joey's cats adds some weight to the idea that a spirit was present.
Cats sense what we don't sense. One of the most infamous cases of a precognitive cat is a cat by the name of Oscar. Now, Oscar was adopted by a nursing and rehabilitation center in Providence, Rhode Island. But Oscar had this uncanny ability to detect what would invariably be the death of a patient. He would get up on the bed and curl up, and the patient would pass away.
So can cats detect spirits, coming or departing? Some studies have found that cats actually do know more than humans. It's said they feel certain vibrations and can sense negativity coming from people. So let's have our experts channel their best feline intuition to unravel this spirited yarn. Catholic miracle researcher Michael O'Neill says the concept of ghosts does have a place in Catholic tradition.
There's this idea that the soul outlives the body. And Catholics also believe in purgatory, this space between living on earth and your final destination. The thought is that perhaps ghosts are those people who are souls in purgatory.
So is this the ghost of the former owner manifesting in her own purgatory? And does Joey's wife's experience of waking up to see a spirit reinforce that?
Perhaps we can attribute this to somebody being awoken from REM sleep and having a hallucination. Their brain is projecting images into their physical space, which makes them feel that it's actually real.
That may provide an explanation for why some people see ghosts, but this was a camera seeing it. So we went to forensic video analyst Mick West, and he has a theory on what's happening.
We know that they have 3 cats, which leads to the possibility that what we're actually seeing over here might just be a cat. We see something coming in, but all we're seeing really is just kind of a collection of pixels. It could well be that this is a cat. Perhaps this is its tail over here. We really don't know because the camera's really bad.
And West thinks that this low-resolution CCTV camera can explain why we have such a hard time identifying what's going on.
We see this little kind of jump in the video here. That's the video kind of updating itself, catching up with the compression. Videos are split into what's called I-frames and P-frames. I-frames are actual images, and P-frames are predicted images. They're what the compression algorithm thinks is going to be in that particular image based on the previous frame. And I think what might have happened here, the cat walked into this room and then jumped up onto the top of whatever's here, a little shelf or a dresser or something.
Mystery solved? Not exactly. Joey says that theory might make sense, but in reality, it's physically impossible.
It's just an empty hallway. There's no shelves or anything where a cat would jump onto.
Our verdict? Unidentified, which is as close to saying it's a ghost as we're willing to go. West may be onto something with the theory that this is Joey's missing third cat. But if that's the case, then what is it jumping onto? And what were those strange orbs we see flying through? If only the other two scaredy cats could talk. Mars has two moons, Deimos and Phobos, which were discovered way back in 1877. Phobos orbits Mars near its equator 3 times a day. It is so close to the planet's surface that it's not visible from some locations on Mars. But when it's caught on camera, what can be seen is something that's out of this world. September 12, 1998. The Mars Global Surveyor is 2 years into its mission to monitor Mars. It's above Phobos when its camera captures a surprising sight that amateur astronomer Efren Palermo then discovers on NASA's website.
I was looking through the images and kind of finding anomalies. That's when I saw something a little bit out of place.
Efren is looking at an enormous protrusion on the Mars moon's surface. You can tell from the shadow this thing is tall.
Phobos is a very small moon, and there's no geologic reason to have a structure sticking out like that.
This feature rises 300 feet into the sky, making it almost as tall as London's Big Ben. Author and lecturer Jason Martell says it seems to be cylindrical, with a slanted top, so many believe it can't be natural.
Many areologists have studied the idea that this could be some type of a monolith.
But this structure is as big as a building. So, as strange as it seems, some people have speculated that it could be some type of futuristic dwelling. In fact, it looks a bit like Marcia, a 3D printed vertical home designed right here on Earth as a model for sustainable living on the red planet. Marcia's dual shell egg shape allows for the use of less material and balances the need for greater Earth-like atmospheric pressure inside, with Mars's thinner atmosphere outside.
The structure of these towers is taller and leaner in mass, making them ideal for climate conditions on Mars. Perhaps these structures are indicative of the intelligent design needed to create weather-resistant Martian structures.
Don't buy it? Well, there's an even more out there theory. This structure looks a bit like the plastic-protected antennas on an old Nokia cell phone. So maybe it's an antenna or some other communication device attached to a larger spacecraft. That spacecraft being Phobos itself.
Soviet scientist Iosif Shklovsky concluded that Phobos was most likely hollow inside, with possibly a thin sheet of metal exterior. Originally thought to be an asteroid captured by Mars gravity, scientists thought that the drag from the atmosphere was causing Phobos to sink its orbit by almost 2 inches a year. And for that to happen, some said it had to be hollow, like a man-made artificial satellite.
Astronaut Buzz Aldrin thought the Phobos monolith would generate public curiosity when its existence became widely known. And he was right. We've got to ask, who or what put that there? Fortunately, we have some experts on hand to give us the lowdown on this Martian moon mystery. First, astrophotographer Andrew McCarthy speaks to whether the Phobos monolith could be an alien communication tower.
The irregular shape of this structure would make it difficult for communications as we understand it. The communications dishes we're familiar with would be symmetrical with an antenna for omnidirectional transmitting and receiving.
McCarthy also suggests that Soviet scientist Iosif Shklovsky's idea that Phobos could be a hollowed-out spacecraft is, well, hollow, thanks to new info about Phobos and its twin moon, Deimos.
It's not that Shklovsky did bad science. It's that they had bad data to work with. Today, we're fairly certain they're completely solid and similar to many other asteroids out there.
And as far as this being a dwelling modeled on designs like Marcia,
it's just really coincidental that they have a similar shape to what the design is right now for Marcia, but it's definitely made up of rock material that's local to the region. You can see that it is a rock formation.
So then, what exactly is this Phobos monolith, and how did it get here?
Most likely, it's impact ejecta. It could have formed from an impact onto the surface of Phobos, but it also could be a meteorite that was heading towards the sun and intersected with Phobos, and what you're seeing is a piece of just laying there.
Our verdict, we're going to stick with our experts. This is most likely impact ejecta created from a meteorite collision. Phobos is getting closer to Mars by 6 feet every century. If this continues, it could crash into the red planet itself in about 50 million years. And that's our show for tonight. Thank you for watching, and keep those cameras rolling.